Jamie Dimon warns of stagflation threat. Okay, so now keep in mind, Jamie just recently announced that the most important thing to him is him stepping down and succession. Jamie comes back down and lowers the amount of hours they want their guys to work at the, they were doing 80 hours a week. They're kind of going down to 60 hours a week. And then he comes out and says economic growth in the U.S. surpassed expectations in the second quarter with a 2.8% increase in GDP, driven by strong consumer demand and government spending. However, the economy has since shown signs of slowing down in the second half of the year, with private sector payrolls growing at the weakest pace since 2011, raising concerns about cyclical companies. JPMorgan Chase, Jamie Dimon warned the stagflation, a combination of stagnation and inflation remains a real threat, which could lead to higher unemployment and reduced consumer purchasing power. Despite a decline in inflation, 2.5% in August, the potential for increased national debt and interest payments could exacerbate inflationary pressures. Dimon's concerns highlights the precarious balance of the U.S. economy as it navigates between growth and inflation. Tom, one, what's going to happen with interest rates later on today? And two, are you in the same place as Jamie?
Yeah, so today we're going to get some comments from Jerome Powell and then the official waving of the checkered flag on the decision. This morning, they said there will be a special press conference at 2 p.m. tomorrow. They announced that today. So it is a lock. We're going to get a quarter point off of the interest rate, and that's going to have a positive effect on mortgages. As a matter of fact, mortgages are reacting. Pat, you won't believe this. Take a look. I didn't talk to Pat about this. He hasn't seen this. Rob popped the slide this morning. Look at it. 30-year fixed, 6.5. Vinny, 30-year VA, 6.1. Hey-o. We haven't seen things threatening to get into the fives in 2 years. And so what this is just, and by the way, this is a $400,000 mortgage, 20% down, $750 credit. So this is not anything crazy. So that's what we're seeing here. Now, there are people out there, the Fed watchers, and I'm one of them, who believe that there is about a 60% chance, based on the labor information that came out and unemployment, now definitely above 4, it's 4.2, that those could cause the Fed to say, you know what, we really need a half a point right now. You know what the Biden administration and Kamala Harris are doing. They are lobbying for a half a point right now. That's what they want. They need it right now. But the Fed watchers also say that the labor numbers, remember the ones that got revised over the last 3 weeks? And there's a lot of controversy about that. Jerome Powell said that he was uncomfortable with the lack of consistency in the labor numbers. People say that's bad because if he's confident that the labor numbers were poor, and we've 7 consecutive months, we've lost full-time jobs in the U.S., then if he looks at that and accepts it, he probably goes that 60%, making it a half a point cut, because it means, hey, we're losing jobs, unemployment's up 4.2, those would correlate. Man, I think it needs to be a half point, but it's going to be a quarter point. And what Dimon is concerned about is with consumer delinquencies on cars and credit cards are up. Credit card balances are up again. All of that slows down or stagnates the economy. And then you have the unemployment going up, and that's the stagflation. So Jamie Dimon is saying, hey, we went from inflation way out of control. Now we could go to unemployment getting out of control, and as well as negative pressure on financial service companies who start to suffer losses from delinquencies. Even though over there at Chase, they're among the people that are charging people 25% on credit cards right now. So the banks initially make a lot of money, and then when it goes delinquent, so that's all of his concerns wrapped in a bubble there.
You remember about a month ago when the VIX shot up, the volatility index, and like boom, all of a sudden the market I think crashed 1,000 points.
It was because of the yen. It was Japan.
Yeah, it was sort of a function of that, but ultimately there was what it came down to was concerns over where unemployment was sort of trending, because I think the number that they want to keep it below is 5%. I think it's 4.2% right now. There was some numbers basically coming in saying that it was trending in the wrong direction, 4.5%. Boom, VIX skyrocketed. Market basically got pummeled. I remember it was on a Monday. By the time we came back in on Tuesday and discussed it on the podcast, everything was back to normal again. So that just sort of sent shockwaves and reverberations in the marketplace. So regarding Jamie, was it Jamie Dimon's comments regarding about stagflation? So we've just experienced some of the worst inflation we've had since basically 1980, where inflation I think was an all-time high at 14%. That was under Pat's favorite president, Jimmy Carter, that he owes being in America too, right? Shout out to Jimmy. By the way, who's still around with us, I want to say.
Yes, I think so.
About to be 100. But the difference between inflation and stagflation is, so inflation, boom, GDP goes up, cost of goods and services go up, so people start to spend more of their paycheck, like we all understand. But also, part of it is that there's still low unemployment. Now, with stagflation, there's still low growth, there's high unemployment, and inflation is still high. So it's basically a shitty situation where your spending basically starts to go stagnant because you just simply can't afford anything at that point, much like inflation where you have to just pay more. But Jerome Powell, who I often cite as probably the most important man in America who people don't know as a household name, he's come out and vocally said that he's not trying to tip the levers in any direction for Trump or Harris in this upcoming election, which I think we can all understand. He's probably one of the few people who seems to be unbiased. And by the way, I think he was appointed by Trump regardless. He said there's also flashing signs of this inverted yield curve. You heard this whole thing, Tom. You basically explained that to me a few months ago, how that could basically be a sign of the economy. But if you look at the United States compared to the rest of the world, inflation, I think, is closer to 2.5% at this point, with the target of 2%. Unemployment, 4.2%, not bad. Stock market last year, 25%. This year, 15%. Market's doing good, but as we all know, there's a big difference between Main Street and Wall Street. But then you look at the Fed fund rate, what she's looking to do today. What it's at 5.25%. Prime rate's at 8.5%. So what they're ultimately saying is that this is probably going to be the last rate cut, potentially hike, doubt a hike, but until the election. So they're basically calling for him to basically go big or go home.
You think he's going to do half a quarter?
Point?
I think quarter's an absolute lock, and I'm only 50-50 on that because of his comments about the labor numbers. He does not like the fact that government's monkeying with the labor numbers.
Okay, so let's just say it's a half a point. How does the market react?
Oh, the market celebrates.
You think it's like a 5% day?
No, I think it's a 2.5 to 3% day, and the financial services sector, just is absolutely overjoyed.
What a perfect timing for some of us.
Isn't that weird?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, wouldn't it be great? But just think of what can be, Pat, unburdened by what has been.
We may put the biggest election night event together outside of whatever Kamala and Trump is going to do. We're probably going to put the third biggest one there. You're going to want to be there. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be wild. It's going to be insane. It'll be a lot of fun, creativity, craziness. But here's the thing. To attend it, you're going to have to buy a ticket to go to it, obviously. The tickets are not going to be, vault type of tickets where you're spending, 15, 20, 25K. We're not talking that. It'll be lower amount tickets that we're doing. However, a barrier to enter. When you come in, you have to wear Future Looks Bright gear. We want the room to be filled with people wearing Future Looks Bright gear. So for some of you that want to fly out November 5th, when I tell you what it is and the announcement is finalized, it's going to be crazy. If you don't yet own Future Looks Bright gear, all you have to go get something. Guys, we have a girl, one of Adam's colleagues, posts a video about her wearing this red Valuetainment hat. And she's walking around. It's like everybody's stopping and says, "You're also Valuetainer? You're also Future?" I am. It's amazing what's taking place. Vinny, yesterday, if you want, are you comfortable sharing your story? Go ahead.
I had surgery yesterday back at work, because that's how we roll. I had a big cyst removed from my lower back, and I'm in, getting ready pre-op. All the needles are on my arm. I'm ready to go in. A Cuban guy eating a protein bar walks by, stops in his tracks, and goes, "Mira, Vicente Pipiripaca," and then he leaves. He grabs 7 people, Tom. I'm surrounded by 7 people, and all they're talking about is how glad and happy they are that what we're doing, how amazing of a leader Pat is, and what America needs is what's happening right now. People were screaming, "Future Looks Bright" in the back, and then one Haitian lady looks at me and goes, "I want you to tell Adam, thank you for sticking up for the Haitians, because not all of us eat cats." And I go, "But some people do in Springfield." But Pat, the movement, no joke. And I wanted to address this too, Pat. What you're doing, what you've started, what you've built. I can't even go besides coffee, I'm nervous because I'm about to go in there and I could die on an operating table. And I had a group of 7 people around me talking about Valuetainment and your vision and what Valuetainment is doing.
So it's like, so Vinny, what was that story about? And by the way,
he's like, all of us are slackers, huh?
Look, if you support what we do, which we appreciate, if you believe future looks bright, we want 1 million people worldwide to sport this gear. So go to vtmerch.com, okay? Represent anything. We got so much gear right now. The flip-flops, we had a few more left for some of you guys. I want to pick it up. That's the only flip-flop I wear, by the way, when I walk the dog. Just so you know that. My Jesus feet will only go in that flip-flop when I'm walking the dogs at night. So go to vtmerch.com, place your order. There's a bunch of new gear there as well. And if you want to come to that party on November 5th, you got to wear Future Looks Bright. We're going to make videos. It's going to be sick. It's going to be all over the place. Millions of views. It'll be a lot of fun.
They have no idea.
No,
I don't think they know what the heck you're talking about.
I can't tell them yet, but it'll be exciting when it gets finalized.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.